Bible says in Ephesians 2:1. We were hopeless. We could do absolutely nothing in our relationship with God. We couldn't do a single thing. And that's the foundation we're going to have for outreach. So first of all, we must realize that we were hopeless. Second of all, realize that you were blessed. Take a look at verses number 5 through 8 in chapter 7. And they rose up in the twilight to go up to the camp of the Syrians. And when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of Syria, behold, there was no man there. For the Lord made the host of the Syrians to hear a noise of the chariots, and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host. And they said one to another, Lo, the king of Israel hath hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to come up to us. Wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents, and their horses, and their asses, even the camp as it was, and they fled for their lives. And when these lepers came to the uttermost part of the camp, they went into one tent, and did eat and drink, and carried thence silver and gold and raiment, and went and hid it, and came again, and entered into another tent, and carried thence also, and went and hid. What happened here was just miraculous. These men were sitting here, they were contemplating basically suicide, going to the Syrian tent. Little did they know that because of their faith, they went over there and God had done something. God had done a work. He caused a noise to the Syrians here, and the Syrians heard this noise and they said, okay, it must be the Egyptians, it must be the Hittites, we're getting out of here, we got to get out of here right now or else we're going to die. So they left everything they had, they left all their food, they left all their raiment, they left all their gold, whatever. And they took their horse and they just left. Man, they just ran out of there. So these leprous men came, and they saw everything. And after years, months, days of famine, after not having anything, after having ripped clothes, shaved head, after not having the acceptance or love of anybody, they finally felt the embrace of God. They finally had overabundance. They finally had all these great things. But who did the work? It was God. The Bible says in Romans 5:8, but God commendeth his love towards us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Who did all the work there? It was still God. Though we have faith, though we have grace, God still does all the work. It was not by our works that Christ came down and died on the cross. It was not by our own merit, our own righteousness that Christ did any of those things. It was by his grace, it was by the blessings of God that he did. As we look around to the Christians that surround us today, and especially here in California, we can become discouraged. As we look at business moguls, unsaved men, all these rich financial people, we can become a little bit discouraged and we don't think that we're blessed. And it just becomes a comparison to these higher up people that we think we're down here. Well, to me, it became an eye-opening moment this last December when I went to my dad's hometown down in Mexico. The place was called Alta Vista de Ramos. It was a little farming community there in a mountain that my dad lived there for the first good chunk of his life. Everyone's last name there was Ramos because they were it was basically a family over there. But just to see what was there, man, I look around these people, they have the latest iPhone or whatever, and I think, why can't I have that? They have the fanciest cars, why can't I have that? They have a nice 2-story or 3-story house, why can't I have that? And I was so humbled to look at this place, this mountainous farming village, where people had dogs lying around, coming in and out of their houses. People just so poor sometimes. Some of them had some pretty nice houses. Some of them were very destitute. And just to see that, just to see how these people lived, man, it made me realize I'm really blessed here in the U.S. I'm really blessed here in California. When we try to compare ourselves to these people who we think have blessings, we tend to look at ourselves and, man, I'm not blessed. But when we tend to look at these people who are unsaved and realize that we're the ones who are the chosen sons of God. We're the ones who have a royal priesthood. We're the ones who have an inheritance in heaven forever. We're the ones who have eternal security and have the relationship with the God of the universe. Then we can realize that we are truly blessed. Ephesians 2:5 says it best, "For when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Christ. By grace ye are saved." And we were hopeless, first of all. Second of all, we're blessed. God did all the work. God did all these things for us. And then third of all, and here comes the crux of the message right here. Realize you have a great responsibility because of those truths. Look at verses 9 through 11. "And they said one to another, We do not will. This day is a day of good tidings, and we hold our peace. If we tarry till the morning light, some mischief will come upon us. Now therefore come, that we may go and tell the king's household." And they came and called the porter of the city. And they told him, saying, "We came to the camp of the Syrians, and behold, there was no man, neither voice of a man, but horses tied, and asses tied, and the tents as they were. And he called the porters, and they told it to the king's house within." And if you read the rest of the chapter, the king goes down there. The people of Samaria go down there, and they have a great day. They have a feast. They get all the gold. They got all the raiment. They kick the Syrians out. It was a great day. Why? Because these men cared enough about others to tell them. I can just see the scene right here. I can see a man, he's crusty in his face. Maybe one guy doesn't have an arm. He has this royal purple garment all around his shoulders. He has this king's crown. He has, the gold chain. He has gold rings and something. He's eating KFC, just a bucket of food right there. And as it's falling out of his mouth, he realizes, you know what? There's people in that city who are eating their own children, who are eating all these things, and we're here feasting like kings. Man, God bless us. We do not well if we do not tell. So they got up, and they went to the porter of the city, the gatekeeper, and he told, "Tell everyone, tell the king, come here. God did this. God made a huge blessing for us. Come on in. I'll guarantee you'll be fulfilled." And just as they had the responsibility, the human right to go out and tell these people who were destitute, who were hungry, who were thirsting, all these things, they had nothing. These men now had everything. It was their responsibility now to go tell and help these people. As we are blessed by Christ, it is now our responsibility to go share that blessing with others. I can just imagine how it would be like if these men just stayed there, got fat, just ate all the food, took all the stuff, they hid it out in the desert. What do you think would have happened if the Israelite king should come to know about this? He would call them out about it. They might have even been executed if these men kept all this good stuff from these poor people. So what makes us think that we can get away from not telling others about Christ? There's opportunities even here at this church. There's the missions. There's the farmers markets. We should be going to these things. We should be outreaching. We should be telling others about Christ in whatever ways we can. Because we have a great responsibility to share this great truth with Christ, or with others. Even atheists recognize that we have a great responsibility. In an interview with Penn Jillette of the famous group Penn and Teller, he was handed a church tract from some guy who was out in the street preaching. Somebody gave him a tract, and he came into his dressing room into a Vegas show. And some reporter followed him and asked him, "Penn, what do you think about these guys coming over and giving you, material, this stuff, this pamphlet? Does it kind of annoy him?" And him, being a famous atheist, surprisingly remarked, "No." So the reporter asked, "So, why? How can you not be angry at this? I mean, you're an atheist. You go around, you talk about how much, you don't like God, all that stuff. You don't think God is real. And so he had this to say. How much do you have to hate someone not to proselytize? How much do you have to hate somebody not to evangelize? How much do you have to hate somebody to believe that everlasting life is possible and not tell them that? If I believed beyond a shadow of a doubt that a truck was coming at you and you didn't believe it and that truck was bearing down on you, there's a certain point where I would tackle you. And this is more important than that. An atheist saying that if I knew that hell was real, that there was an everlasting judgment, and I didn't know and I didn't tell you anything about that, I would have to hate you not to do that. I would have to despise your soul. I'd have to despise every fiber of your being, knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that I believe that if you were to die today, you would go to hell. And I didn't do anything about that, I would have to hate you. And if atheists realize that we have a great responsibility, knowing that all these people would have to face God in judgment, how much more should we realize that? You can't keep the gospel to yourself. Just imagine if in the 50s, Jonas Salk, the inventor of the polio vaccine, kept that good thing to himself. How many more people would have to die from polio? Imagine if Steve Jobs kept the design and the idea for the iPhone, for this modern-day smartphone to himself. Man, a lot of us would be lost. I mean, I'd be lost not being able to use Google Maps. All these men, all these great men, having all these great ideas, all this great truth, all these great vaccines, all these great medications, all these great things, they didn't keep them to themselves. And so we have this great truth. We have a great opportunity. We have the lifeline for people who are on their way to hell to be saved. And you have it in your hands. The question is, are you going to tell? You, yes, you have a personal responsibility to share the gospel with others. Will you be as these leprous men who were hopeless, but then were blessed? And as they were blessed, they realized they had a great responsibility. So they went out and they shared that truth with others. And as a result, many were fed. Many were taken up out of that miry clay of being destitute. Many were taken away from having to pay $20 for a fourth of a pint for a dove's dung. And they were fed, and they had overabundance. There might be someone on your mind tonight that maybe it's your family, maybe it's your loved one, maybe it's your coworker, who's in that destitute position right now. You're right here. You're blessed. You're blessed by God. You're loved by God. The love of the creator of the universe is right upon you. He has a personal one-on-one relationship with you. Will you tell? Because remember, friends, we do not well